Hello friends, Peter here from the Esoteric Order of Gamers, and today, very exciting, we're going to look at the new Warcry set. It's called Heart of Ghurrrrrr. Heart of Ghurrrrrr. I just love saying that. Heart of Ghurrrrrr. It's a fantastic big box set. You can see it's very deep, the box, and it's got a whole lot of new stuff in it for Warcry. They've changed the rules just a little bit, and they've got some fantastic new models and terrain. So let's have a really good deep dive into this new set and show you what you get if you choose to purchase it. Now, before I keep going, I must say that Games Workshop were kind enough to send me this free so I could show it to you. Thank you, Games Workshop, and I hope you enjoy my look at it. Let's go. Okay, let's open up this lovely big box. It's a nice high quality glossy box. As you can see, Games Workshop are really making some nice boxes for their stuff. And of course there's a whole lot of plastic as soon as you open the lid. And we've got our new terrain sprues here with some lovely trees. It's really good to see some more natural terrain. Always hard to get trees, so I'm very happy with this terrain. And also it's going to be great for other games as well, but I'll go into that when I've built it. So we've got a few sprues there. One of them is a duplicate sprue, which is this sprue here, which has got some walkways and scatter terrain on it. As you can see, lovely trees there and bamboo platforms. One more terrain sprue. Got the skeleton of some creature there as well. And then we get on to the two gangs, war gangs in this particular set, which are lovely. I'll show you those when they're built in more detail, but the usual high quality Games Workshop miniatures. We've got a sheet here protecting the rest of the box from the miniatures. Now I've taken off some plastic and things in here already, so this isn't necessarily exactly how it was boxed. That's our rulebook for putting the miniatures together. Then we've got a nice double-sided board, the standard Warcry size. I keep saying Warcry, it's Warcry. And two nice kind of natural looking surfaces to game on. A darker one and a more sort of orangey, reddy, dirty kind of colour. With a few nice little details there as well of rocks and skeletons and things. This is the Warband tome, which tells us about our two Warbands. And what we've got is the Rotmire Creed and the Horns of Hashut. There are our two Warbands. Down the bottom here we've got some nice counters, nice thick cardboard, lovely counters, a measuring stick thing, which I don't know, I never use these, I just use tape measures. And of course reference sheets for the fighter types of those two warbands and their special abilities. And of course some dice, love the colours, really nice coloured dice here. And bases, got to have some bases. Now let's have a look at the different types of cards. Our first deck here is the one that shows us our terrain setups. So using the terrain in the set, we can make all these different terrain setups. Our next deck is the victory deck. So our victory conditions. This is what I love about Warcry. Just a combination of these different decks of cards gives you a game ready to play. No mucking about. This little deck is our twists deck, so these are interesting things to make the game just a bit more exciting and to shake things up a bit. Lovely deck of twists. Then we have got the deployment deck. These are all the different ways of deploying things. Of course, troops can come in, or warbands can come in right at the start, or they can be held in reserves for round 1 or round 2. Then we've got the unit cards here. Here's for the Rotmire Creed, our different guys in that band. I love these cards. They're just so easy to use with these icons, no text on them. They're really easy to access all the information. Here's the Horns of Hashut, which you can see has a sort of bull motif. Really nice colour schemes, great graphic design as usual. They've got some extra cards here. Okay, let's have a look at the core book. A lovely, thick, perfect bound, soft cover book. As usual, a lot of background information, beautiful photos, information about what all the different factions are doing in Ghur, the land of beasts, and why they're interested in this particular land and why all the battles are going on. Different types of play, narrative play, open play, all that stuff. It's usual chock a block full of information. Really nice rulebook. Now, one of the changes in this new edition is the addition of reactions. So this adds a little bit more dynamism to the game. You've got some universal reactions, and these are There's counter. So you can make this after you've been targeted by a melee action, but before the hit rolls are made. For each hit roll from the attack action that misses, you allocate 1 damage to the attacking fighter. For each hit roll of 1, 2 damage instead. So it allows you to do a bit of damage back to someone who's attacking you. If you're in cover, you can make this reaction. Take cover if you're targeted by a missile attack. That means if you can roll a dice for each critical hit on a 4+, it becomes a hit instead. So that's quite handy. And strike them down if a visible enemy within 1 inch makes a disengage action, but before they move away on a 4+, you can allocate D6 damage to that enemy fighter. So stab them in the back as they're trying to run away from you. So this adds a little bit more. Of course, there'll be particular specific reactions for different warbands. So that should add a little bit more dynamism to the gameplay. I'm looking forward to trying that out. Now, you're probably wondering what all these people are doing in Ghur fighting amongst themselves. Well, everybody fights in the Age of Sigmar, but in this case, it's all set in the Gnarlwood, which is in Ghur. And in the Gnarlwood is a fabled city called Talaxis. And this is what everybody's trying to get in and find. Now, it's got a very kind of jungle conquistadors kind of feel, going into the jungle, the living forest that is trying to get you as you explore for treasures and glory and all the rest of it, and all the reasons that the different factions are doing this. But the city of Talaxis isn't a city after all. It's actually the ruins of a huge temple ship, a Seraphon temple ship. The Seraphon being the kind of lizard men who are the servants of the Slan. If you know your Age of Sigmar and Old World mythology, of course, you'll know that the Slan are the incredibly powerful kind of frog-like extraterrestrial creatures in the background of the Warhammer stuff. So some interesting background there, something a little bit different, and a great excuse to have these battles in the Gnarlwood. As I said, you've got the Rotmire Creed and the Horns of Hashut. Here they are here, fighting over, in this case. But, of course, there's information on the other factions as well. And you can get them online, which is really good as well. Now let's have a look at the terrain and check it out. Now, when I saw this terrain on the back of the box, I thought, well, you know, there's not much there. You know, it doesn't seem quite as solid as the buildings that were in the first Warcry set. But actually, when I've made it, I'm really impressed because it's lovely, chunky forest terrain. As you can see, it's got these lovely bamboo walkways between platforms. The trees are great. I've said before, I love trees and natural kind of terrain on a board, and it's hard to get too much of it. And this stuff is very organic and interesting. You've got lots of lovely scattered terrain as well. There's a skeleton there, a fence, you know, with another little human skeleton hanging off it. Bits of ruins. What else have you got? Here's the ruins again. Look at that, lovely. But aren't these platforms fantastic? And you can see they've got a very nice organic mix of the huge remains, the skeletons of creatures which have been overgrown by these trees. And so really interesting mix of the trees kind of overgrowing the bits of skeleton. Really lovely. Now, this was easy to put together, and I was really impressed about the way that they've made these very organic shapes. All of these are kind of overlapping bits of plastic that just all fit into each other nicely and give you this lovely organic feel. And then some of these branches just go straight into the trunk, but it's made up of all these muscle-like pieces. So it's kind of part muscle. These gnarlwood trees are actually really dangerous and can animate and kill things. So it really fits that it's got this mixture of bark and muscle. What about the warbands themselves, I hear you ask? Well, here they are, the Horns of Hashut. I've put a little bit of basing stuff on there as well. And these are ready to prime and paint. So they've very much got that kind of Crete bull worshipping kind of feel to them. And also you've got a few lackeys here, just guys with hammers and things. But the rest of them have these great bull helmets. Very nice indeed. And then the Rotmire Creed, I think, are my favourite in this set. They have a real good feel. They've got these very nice bamboo kind of skirt things. This guy's standing on stilts so he can walk through the marsh without, ruining his expensive shoes. But this guy's got a net, though you can have variations on this one. He doesn't necessarily have to have a net. You can build these in different ways, of course, and there are a few extra pieces in the set. Look at this guy. I mean, they've really got a lovely sense of dynamism and flow, these ones. Lovely models. This guy's, you can see his face in there, but it's very deep within the hood. It's great. He's also standing on stilts. How they managed to do battles in the middle of a swamp on stilts, I'll never know, but they obviously have excellent balance. This guy's great as well. Really nice couple of warbands. I'm very impressed with these figures. And as I said, the terrain as well. Fantastic, really impressive. I think this is a lovely, lovely set of terrain. And of course, as soon as I started building it, I thought of some of my other favourite games. This stuff will be great in the Drowned Earth, which is a post-apocalyptic game, which is very much about lush environments. And I think these trees and walkways will go really well with that as well. So it'll be very useful terrain for other games. Well, I've often said that I think Warcry is one of the best things Games Workshop has done in years. And the reason is, not only is it a fast-playing, fun rules system that doesn't get bogged down in too much detail, but it makes it very easy to set up and play these decks of cards that it has. So all you have to do is put out your battle board, stick out your terrain that you get in the box, then you deal out the cards from each one of those decks, and you have a unique and interesting scenario all ready to play. You've got your little twist that makes it interesting. You've got an interesting way of deploying your troops. It might have built into that you have to keep reserves back for later on. You break your warband into 3 different groups, and they coincide with the groups that come in with those deployment cards. You've got your terrain set up on the cards as well, so you don't even have to think about how you set up your terrain. You've got victory conditions. Everything is there on those cards, and it just makes it so much easier to get a game on the table and play. Instead of being a sort of full afternoon's gaming, it really is just a few hours, and you can have a really good tabletop skirmish with some very distinctive warbands as well. I love how Games Workshop has got away from their usual factions to come up with very interesting, characterful warbands that have their own personality. I think that's absolutely fantastic. And I just think this whole idea of this set that's set in the Gnarlwood, of warbands going into this horrific jungle forest to find this crashed temple ship. I mean, it's so evocative and so interesting. Really, really lovely stuff. So that's the Heart of Ghur set. Now, if you already have Warcry, you might be happy with what you've got. You might want to just buy the warbands and keep going. I don't know how you'll get the rules updates, but you could still play with your existing rules. Otherwise, if you haven't played Warcry or you want to play more, I definitely recommend this set. I'm really looking forward to painting this up, and I will, of course, show it off to you once I've painted it up. I'm going to start just this afternoon, actually, to start painting it. And hopefully I'll get a battle report in too. So that's the new Warcry set, Heart of Ghurrrrrr. And definitely a lovely set from Games Workshop that I think is worth getting your hands on if you like Warcry. Hope you've enjoyed this quick look at Warcry. Of course, there will be more to come. Thanks very much for watching. This is the Esoteric Order of Gamers. I'm Peter. Of course, you can find me on orderofgamers.com, where there's just heaps and heaps of stuff going back 10 years, including lots and lots and lots of rule summaries, more than 400 of them. Unbelievable. You can go and download them and put them in your games, and they'll make your games easier to play and learn. And I'll update my one for Warcry as well. I will see you next time. Thanks for watching, everybody. Good gaming. Bye for now.